All right, welcome to the Sci-Fi Express Lane. Jeff Carroll, writer, filmmaker, comic book dude, all of that. Black History Month. Got my little Black Panther shirt underneath my dashiki, straight African American style. Got this in before the end of Black History Month. I want to talk about when will black people, no, let's say that differently. When will black characters get to be black characters? And I don't even know if I want to say when will, right? When black characters get to be black characters. How about that? That sounds better. So what I'm talking about is a byproduct of a few conversations that I've had with fans and creators, mostly creators, because I brought the questions the fans had to some creators, and my comments reflect that conversation. Okay, so we were talking about all of this backlash from Captain America, Sam Wilson, the black Captain America, and his movie, and we just wondered where it came from. I mean, there's part of, and I know I have my own speculation, but it's part of, let me say, Marvel backlash. In my opinion, we already know that Marvel movies are better than DC, and DC fans are a little bit upset about that. So I get it, and they backlash. There's been a problem with comic book and film character similarities and reputations. They were doing the gender switch, they was doing the cultural appropriations, racial switch. There was a whole lot of little switching that was going on. And, if it's Samuel Jackson playing Nick Fury, it's not that big of a deal. But if it's Michael B. Jordan playing Johnny Flash, Johnny Storm or whatever his name is, it can be a problem, And I agree that it sometimes feels like it is a token, right? But those things have passed. We're over all of that. Marvel has figured out how not to ruffle those feathers so much. The Lady Thor movie, that happened. It's over. We're not going back there. DC movies or whatever they are, they're not. We judge Marvel and DC by the same bar. We don't want to make exceptions. So if Marvel makes some better movies, it is what it is. So this movie had a low tomato rating, but because fans don't always believe Rotten Tomatoes, they went out and saw it themselves, and the ratings that the fans was giving it was higher. You still had some mixed reviews on some people stuck to their guns and saying, oh, but I don't like this, I don't like that, and then you press them and it's like, what are you talking about? I can't even tell you something that people say they don't like about it. Somebody said, well, it cracked better jokes than Civil War. I was like, are you kidding me? He said, we don't usually talk this much in a fight when he was fighting Spider-Man. I'm like, are you kidding me? You really gonna fault it because you felt the joke didn't hit as well? Come on now, jokes are very hard to do, especially in superhero movies like this. And Anthony Mackie, he ain't no comedian, he ain't no comedic actor or whatever. So anyway, I just felt that was bogus. Those was BS comments. Now, what I do think is the real reason is sad, and this ties in to a lot of things that we're going through, as black people, because I'm not going to say, what black creators and what black fans go through is not a black people thing. If it was just the black creators, then it would be black creators. We face gatekeepers. But if it's the fans and the creators, then it's just black people. And what do I say with that? It is some sort of black backlash to deny us accessibility to sci-fi and fantasy. Really, that's it. And it's fueled by a white fragility, right? Number one, we may tell some truths, because you had Captain America being somebody that went after Nazis. And why did he go after Nazis? Because Nazis were a problem on a certain part of the planet, right? Nazis had a goal to take over the world, but they were terrorizing mostly Jewish people after they terrorized African people in Germany. You got to put those together, because what he did to Jewish people, he had previously done to Africans in Germany. There's a couple of books on that, but that's who Captain America went after. And he had a certain opinion about America and the flag, and his patriotism was really different. They call him Captain America, but he ain't necessarily blind. He held, like people said, in the 3 or the 4 Captain America movies, he's on the outside of the American government. He ain't a yes man. He's a thinker. Not only is he a thinker, he stood up for, Hydra, which was bootleg Nazis, And so when we step into Sam Wilson, there's no racism, there's no black oppression, there's no black going through anything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know the film was written during the Biden years, but in reality, the film itself is suffering from racism. You understand what I'm saying? It's racial thoughts that keep people out the theater. I got to ask my friend who probably to this day hasn't seen Black Panther if he saw Captain America, because, he hasn't come to grips with whatever racial feelings he has. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them haven't come to grips with, or haven't been able to get over their racial feelings of inadequacy, their fear of black people, or whatever they want to call it, So that is what caused the tomato reading to be so low, and caused people to question it in ways that they probably wouldn't. It's like sometimes people follow the negative trends. If there's a low tomato reading, now their comments are more negative. If it's a high tomato reading, then their comments is more positive, because they follow, the guidelines, tomato readings or whatever, or just the status quo. They don't want to ruffle the feathers. But for me, there's 2 reasons why I would like to see a black character find a way to take on racism. We have real estate moguls in Daredevil that become nuisances and become something that superheroes have to take on. The Kingpin is a real dude. He don't have no superpowers, but he's a real estate mogul and he's greedy, right? But the same thing could be said for a black hero's villain. He could be somebody who seeks to duplicate what Hitler did. Somebody who, eugenics is real. Part of the super serum, right? Now, in Marvel, the super serum comes from stolen purple flower, right, from Wakanda. And they found a way to synthesize it to make their super soldiers. And that became Captain America. And Sam Wilson is diabolically opposed to using the super serum and getting enhanced, which I think he got to get over. I think he should go to Wakanda, and just like they tricked out his suit and they tricked out Captain America's shield, that he should let them give him a purer form of heart-shaped herb, right? The purple flower. I think he should do that. But now let's throw it again. Just as the Nazis were the real Hydra, the real super serum was the Nazis' eugenicist experiment. How they were experimenting on different races, African Americans, and in hopes to make a super soldier. And that's where the idea of Captain America came from. It ain't fiction. I ain't making this up. Eugenesis is real. It goes back to 1750 and probably even a little bit before that, but, it goes back to them, re-traveling the world, finding out that, there's dominant and recessive genes, there's some attributes that come from having external melanin, epidermal melanin, that, people that have recessive genes, that have, less melanin on their skin and blue eyes and stuff, they have a little bit of different experience with the sun and other things that make those people feel inferior. And so they wanted to even out the odds. So the whole reason why we got a super serum and a Captain America is because of the real life racial fear of white people towards black people. And so that is the real stuff, And so my thing is, when can somebody kind of speak towards that? When can somebody represent that? When can a black character be black? Because I, as a writer, am learning all of this. I don't really write superhero stories, but I feel the urge to address it in my story. In the same way the Marvel writers sought to address it with their creation of Captain America. My character is super black, and he's, it ain't no heart-shaped herb in his universe, but in his origin story, it's African science, that is used to make him a superhero, and it's that same African science that white villains and races are using to kind of even out their odds. So I'm going forward in that story. In the next Baba movie, which hopefully I can get, Baba is facing Bigfoot, and Bigfoot is a byproduct of eugenicist experiments going wrong. So I'm planning to address it in those stories. So yeah, I think we have to deal with these things, because they're affecting, they are the reasons for our character creations in general, and then they are affecting us in the real world, where this is why people don't want to go to the movies. Now, if I saw, if there was a storyline where, it mirrored closer to Captain America in real world, yeah, I could see that being, a challenge, if there was somebody racial. But if they, going after black people and stuff, but if it was a racial person going after, like the game of pool, going after everybody, then I could see, that situation being something beautiful. You give it a nice name, you know what I'm saying, and you address it. You address it like that, but I don't know. And also, let's just tie it all in. There's a fear of the black pen in general. There's a fear of that white creators, white science fiction fans who are aware of how black people were treated in the 60s and 70s in science fiction. As late as David Weber's Honorverse, we're called Medusans. We are exploited like Dune, and how they portray, people of color in Avatar is not how the movie with the blue people. It's not how African first world people were portrayed in books in the 70s. So there's a fear that we will write black retaliation, black dominance in ways that mirror the way white people did black people in their science fiction. You know what I'm saying? And they just can't take that. And I'm like, Dad, that's real messed up, because I've been reading black science fiction since 2005 or whatever. And in 20 years, I have not read a black retaliation story. Now, closest one I got is Zorro, and Zorro ain't killing white people. They just doing a Martin Luther King. They come in and say, yo, you ain't going to oppress African people anymore. We're going to even this out. So that's all they got. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, my friend told me he had a Jewish writer writing a story where black people was killing white people. And I was like, that's not even black people writing that. So it's in their heads. They've done things to us, and they are scared that we will do the same to them. And just like with Barack Obama, we're not worried about them like that. You know what I'm saying? We just want to be equal. And that's it. So anyway, that's my take on this Captain America energy that's negative, and just the challenges facing black people in science fiction. All right, peace. I'm out.